So let's talk about education, right?
Mm-hmm.
Especially in our community.
Mm-hmm.
Why is it you're the perfect person to talk about that, right?
Mm-hmm.
I think that when it comes to education, with so many people leading towards so many of our people, black people,
Mm-hmm.
especially because we're trying to make some corrections in the inner city.
Mm-hmm.
So many people are coming together to teach financial literacy.
Mm-hmm.
Why is it that we're not coming together to create our own school system with our own curriculum?
Mm-hmm.
So many of us is doing these. Oh, I'm teaching financial literacy. I'm doing this. I'm doing that.
Mm-hmm.
And you have backgrounds with the education. You understand curriculums. You
Mm-hmm.
understand the college tuitions and all
Mm-hmm.
that. So you know exactly what people are looking for in terms of providing the need for that education.
Yeah.
But why is it that we're not coming together
Mm-hmm.
to build these schools
Mm.
and provide these curriculums for our people or within the inner city?
That's a heavy question, man. Um, Terms of building schools, and shout out to Dr. Umar. Shout out to Dr. Umar for the he. Hopefully, I hope he figures it out. That's a
Yeah.
good. I don't want to get into this. That's gonna be a whole other topic. But I think so. Somebody, somebody told me, and I didn't understand it. Somebody told me this a couple weeks ago. A friend of mine, she said the Department of Education, the DOE, has a monopoly on education in New York City.
Mm.
And I didn't really understand. And I was like, repeat what you said. And she said, you don't have to enroll your kid into the DOE, but they make it seem as though you do, right? Because it's public schools, it's free to enroll. So they position themselves as we're just going to educate the most kids in New York City because it's free. And because we tend to forget about like the Montessori schools and the parochial schools and the private schools and all type of stuff. Like those are options, but obviously they're not all free
Expensive, yeah.
and expensive. Um, but you can open a school. Like it's not, but because of like how it's marketed and how it's positioned, we just
Mm-hmm.
think that's like the only game in town. So I think that one, it's just lack of information. Because me in working in the education space, I didn't even put that together. Because we just, you think of New York City, you think the DOE. That for one, right? Um, us understanding, just even understanding how the system works and understanding that there is an alternative to do so, right?
Right.
I think that's number one. I think what it honestly it would for that to really happen. I think a combination of things. I think you would need the wisdom of somebody that's been doing it for a very long time. So me, Achumba and I, we're a couple years in the game. Like, yes, we have some experience, we have some understanding, but I
Mm-hmm.
think you would need somebody who's probably in their 50s, 60s, has probably
Mm-hmm.
been an educator in the education space for like 30 years to really do it.
Right.
You know what I mean? Because you need that institutional knowledge, that the unknown unknowns,
Mm-hmm.
um, which I definitely don't have. I'm not at that point. So I think it could happen, but I would definitely want to seek the counsel and probably like put it into the hands of a select few of folks that shout out to one of our mentors, Jeff and Chuma and I's Ruben Durante, who the classroom uh, right across the hall is actually named after Durante because he's been in the education space for years, for 20 plus years. Has a dope company, Triad Consulting. He's somebody I would definitely want to would if come to them with that idea.
Mm-hmm.
That like, yo, Ruben, you got to let's figure that out. How we can do that,
Right.
and how can we support you and help you to build and be like your soldiers in that.
Because we all want the same thing.
Right.
We all wanna educate the next generation or the
Mm-hmm.
generation after that to really say, hey, listen, here's a school that's
Right.
gonna teach you the right tools
Absolutely.
to get you ahead.
Absolutely. Yep. Yep.
Mm. So this is the next question I have, right? And
Mm-hmm.
and you know what? I gotta before then I gotta shout out LeBron too because LeBron is doing amazing. He created a school over there
Mm-hmm.
in Ohio,
Mm-hmm.
and there are people that's doing it, but I think that for us, for every single person that wants to provide that educational tools, I think that is very important that we come together and say, hey, let's start creating
Hmm.
a school system where we're going to have our own curriculum
Right.
and basically teach the fundamentals are there, right?
Hmm.
But also teach them how to execute on those fundamentals.
Hmm.
And it's not just teaching them, but also showing them that execution. That's the key part too. It's not just gaining the knowledge. It's just
Absolutely.
how do you apply the knowledge and how you make it stick.
Absolutely.
Right. But I think that's important. So, Julius, let me ask you a personal question.
Hmm.
You know, if there was, because I see that you're on this path.
Hmm.
You know, you went to finances. Um, you went first of all. You learned communication from working at a sales call place.
Hmm.
You went through all the a few financial companies, and now you're in the educational system. Like, really, what's next? If you didn't have, to think about
Hmm.
the business, you didn't have to think about the money or the status, right?
Right. Yeah.
What would you be doing right now, or what is next for you?
Man, that's a great question, and it's something that I truly ask myself. I think for me, I think the one thing that I probably would want to tackle, um, and it's I mean, it's not cliche, but it is something that we all want to get into. I think um, real estate and like actually ownership, but not just in maybe not in even just in the space of uh yes, maybe commercial property and rents and things like that. But I think also um, one of my weirdly enough, one of my like people that I looked up when I was younger was George Jefferson. Like I used to watch like Nick at Night and all that type of stuff. I used to watch the
Yeah,
Jeffersons. The reason I looked at him because he had that the dry cleaning businesses, right? He
yeah,
had like
yeah.
a
Once
franchise.
again, showing your age. But
Yeah, listen, man. It was reruns. I wasn't watching it in real time, man. I wasn't. I was watching. I was watching. That was
Hey, man,
not.
it's all right if you got disclaimers. It's all
Yeah, I
good,
wasn't watching.
bro.
I watching George Jefferson. I was watching. Yeah, I was watching
Yeah.
reruns. But that's funny. So because and what I took from that is I think there's a lot of untapped small businesses in our neighborhoods, in our communities that people need, right? That people still need services, right? There's still, like for example, and I'm just throwing stuff out like yeah, you can't outsource somebody fixing your toilet.
Hmm.
You really can't outsource your dry cleaning. You can outsource, well, meaning to another country.
Right, right.
You can't. It doesn't make big financial sense to send your laundry to the Philippines to get done. You're gonna have to get it done in your neighborhood. Like proximity is important for
Hmm.
those type of
Yeah.
tools. So for me, I think owning ownership in communities for direct services is something that I want to really explore and get into. Like those really, somebody I follow, he has I think his name is Nick Huber. Dude, he has this company, his brand called Sweaty Startups, where he's just attracted to businesses that are you have to have some sweat equity into it. You're not looking for like VC money or
Mm.
those type of things. You're not looking for the next Facebook or Amazon. You're looking for opportunities of services that everyone needs, local businesses that's cash flow heavy that you can scale up.
Mm.
That would be something that I would love to explore and do more in, right?
Mm-hmm.
Um, that I think if I could, and I'm still tinkering with different ideas, but if I could figure that out, that'll be money.
That's cool.
Yeah.
I like the concept and the idea behind that. I just I my only pushback would be this, and it's just a question:
Mhm.
how would you be able to make that effective in the community when people go online
Mm.
to research these type of people, right?
Mhm.
And it's easier when they have these 1-800 numbers where
Mhm.
you can contact. They have a group of people under one umbrella.
Mhm.
How do you isolate yourself and make your that local business stand out?
I think it's still I still think it's proximity based, right? So like for example, so I live in Bed Stuy, right? the other day, I was looking for a notary, so naturally I hit Google, like,
Right.
notary, and one of the businesses that popped up was this local business. It was right on Fulton Street, owned by I think it was owned by like older black woman. She had maybe in her maybe 50s, 60s, something like that. And I remember she was like, "Oh, how did you?" I remember when we were in there. She was like, "How did you find out about this?" I was like, "Oh," I was like, "Google." She said, "Oh, it showed up on the Google thing." So I could tell she's probably recently tinkering, like getting her business on the Google search engine. But when I noticed when we're in there, so I'm in there for maybe about 45 minutes to an hour, like every 30 seconds she was getting a new customer. So she was doing notary. It was a print shop notary. It was I think she did taxes. She did a couple of different things, but it was all very like relatively simplistic business if we talking if we're comparing it to like the overall entrepreneurship landscape or what people are trying to do. Because once again, if I need to get something printed out immediately, if it's a time thing, I can't, if I will go online and try to get that service done, it's not going to happen in time,
Right.
or the time I would need it. Maybe if I were planning ahead, maybe weeks in advance, I could go and find like the dope print shop all the way outside of my neighborhood.
Right.
But if it's something I need I'm in a time crunch, or I need to get something notarized right now, or I need to get something, or I'm trying to get my whatever. I think that proximity and that time factor matters, and I think I would try to figure out how to really leverage that and add on to it and take my expertise, because what I said to and I'm not going to say the print shop in case somebody takes my idea, but what I said was I was like, yo, if I, let's say, just offer that woman like 200 grand right now, is she saying no? Like, yo, you close to retirement, just, we got cash for you, buy you out, and then take that business and keep a staff and try to maybe even make it even more efficient. I mean, obviously you do the numbers and figure out what makes sense, but I just think the opportunities are there, even with the internet. Like I said, even back to my analogy with the toilet. Your toilet breaks, and your pipes is busting, whatever. I mean, I don't know if you got time to like YouTube and go on these things and figure it out. Like, yo, listen, yo, your kids might be like, yo, daddy, yo, the water's everywhere. I gotta, hey, calling whoever, yo, come fix this problem for me.
Right.
I need to have an emergency. Urgency. There's a reason why, emergency. No one's the emergency room never stops having customers.
Right.
You know what I mean?
So my thing is, and I like that concept, and I think it's a great strategy for a plumber, right? Or a toilet, or whatever it is you need, a plumber, a roofer, and things like that. But these are, you got to be a carpenter. These are skillful tools that you acquired, But the thing is, with the notary, what's the difference between notary, print shop, and how do I scale the brand or make it noticeable when the first thing comes to mind is like a Staples or a Kinko, whatever the case may be?
Yeah, I think with them, no, that's a great, and I appreciate this because this is a good exercise for me to think through. I think you're right, because that's what I automatically think of when I was, all right, we're gonna go to FedEx and all that. I think what it is too, I think it's also leveraging your community, right? So leveraging your community in the sense of, like, let's say, whatever, maybe let's say I purchased that print shop. I'm not purchasing that in isolation. I'll make sure, I'll probably try to get some other people that want to go in with this. We also going to let it be no market heavy in the sense of not just marketing and maybe paying for like advertising on that. But we're going to the local council members. We're looking to the state senate. Yo, we got this dope print shop that we just bought out. Whatever we revitalizing, we letting and we letting people know in the community. We going to the churches. We going to just the elderly homes. That if you need this done, we need whatever you have. We going to like make our presence known in the community.
See, I like that. That's a target.
Yeah.
That's a target audience.